Alright, so this is Midway Arcade Treasures 2. A sequel, perhaps, but it's more games than one. This time, I already talked about 24 games. This one has 20 games, to be exact. Which also came out on PS2, Xbox, and GameCube from Digital Eclipse. So, let's talk about the games that are on this one. I've already recapped the stuff about the whole Midway stuff, and they have a bunch of other compilations from Midway. So, I thought it would be cool to talk about a second version, or whatever. There's more games this time, and some of them are probably hit and misses, and that's pretty much all I can say. So, let's look into this. APB. Well, in case you guys are wondering about the name, you guys might be familiar with APB Reloaded, which is an online game. This one is actually a simulation arcade game, you could say. You play as a cop, and you take down criminals. You give them tickets, and you pretty much can help people who are stuck in traffic or whatever. There's gas, there's guns, and whatever. I haven't got far to use the guns yet, but this is an okay simulation type game, so that's kind of all I can say about this one. Arch Rifle. It's a basketball game. It's 2v2 to be exact. The only downside I have for this game is that you can't even switch whichever character that there is in mid-game. I don't understand why this wasn't implemented. Every other sports game has this. I couldn't figure out what I was trying to do. But you can actually go up the hoop and score, and you can also shoot from far distance. But that's all I can really say. I think it supports 2 players, but nothing else. It's a basketball game. Nothing more to say. Championship Sprint. Hey, ain't that the same thing as the other sprint game I played? Well, it plays pretty identical to the one I mentioned in the first compilation. The only differences I can tell are some of the tracks, and they got some power-ups like repairing your own vehicle. That's all there is to say. It's the same thing as I already mentioned before. Not more else to say. Cyberball 2072. It's a futuristic football game, believe it or not. Instead of humans, it's robots. It's actually not a bad football game, believe it or not. The only thing is you have 4 options, so you have to use them wisely. You can pass whichever direction you want to go, wherever the robots are going to be at. You do a run play or a pass play, kind of like your typical football simulation game. So this is kind of a mix between arcadey, but also a simulation football game, if you can tell. What I mean by simulation is that you can plan on passes, and if it happens to work, you'll be lucky to get a touchdown here. But yeah, it's your typical football game, and it's not bad. Definitely give it a check out if you guys are fans of football. Gauntlet 2. It plays pretty identical as the first game. You just go around mazes, find keys, food, potions, and whatever else. Or shortcuts too, just like the first game. So all I can really say, it plays pretty identical to it, but if you guys like more Gauntlet, then this is for you. Hard Driving. I think this also got a Lynx port, believe it or not, and it looks technically impressive. Holy cow, it's a 3D game as well. Whoa, what can I just say about this one? You drive around and whatever. I don't know. But you gotta watch out for oncoming obstacles, like oncoming traffic. And watch it, because they can run you over. Oh, and for further embarrassment, they actually show the replay of you getting run over. Holy cow. I would comment on this game, but the only problem is I got glitched into a freaking thing. Seriously, I got glitched. I don't know if it's an emulation thing or what, but I somehow fell through the freaking floor. Let me know if you guys happen to run into this dumb issue. Cosmic Cruiser. Holy cow, a twin-stick shooter game that takes place in space? I was just talking about this in the first part, and this is exactly what I wanted. But it's just, I don't even know what else to say. It gets boring and repetitive too quickly. I feel like it took some inspirations from Galaga or whatever, like the alien ship taking your buddy or whatever. That's all I can really say. The classic starters of fighting games, Mortal Kombat 2. Wait a minute, where's the first game? You might be wondering. Well, there's a good reason. It was only available in the Mortal Kombat Deception Limited Edition, but you can play the first game in the extended play. But holy cow, can I just say something? I can't even get past the first stage because Baraka, the freaking weakest character in the entire series, just whooped my butt. Seriously, before I can even try to react to fighting him, I'm always getting cheated on. What I mean is that these computer players know exactly what you're doing, and holy cow, all they do is spam, spam, and spam. Trust me, I don't even know what to say, and no, there's no difficulty setting if asking. Mortal Kombat 3, hey, at least they include that one. Unfortunately, it's not Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, which is actually a superior version to play. But they did do some improvements from the second game by being able to choose whichever difficulty setting you want to play. They also have a chain combo thingy, which is actually pretty new at the time. And I actually like that feature. Most of the mechanics from Mortal Kombat 3 and Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 will go on to have its own Mortal Kombat trilogy for PS1, PC, and Nintendo 64. I actually like Mortal Kombat 3, but I just prefer the Ultimate version. Why? We're Scorpion! Where's the popular characters? Narc. I think this might have gotten a console port as well, but it's actually complete play in 2 players. Believe it or not, it's actually a cool shooter game you can play. You can also arrest people on the road as well. You got your guns, missiles, and whatever. You collect evidence. You get a lot of points if you collect them. But yeah, it gets tougher towards the more levels you keep playing. But there's some elements from Smash TV, just like collecting things and get a whole bunch of scores. That's like the only thing I can think of. I don't know if it's made by the same people, but I do know one other game that has, which we'll get to later on. But anyways, it's actually a pretty fun game to play. Check it out if you guys haven't already. Pit Fighter, and a real bad one too. I swear, it's a generic fighting game. All you do is mash buttons, whatever. Funny enough, you can actually play the game up to 3 players. But trust me when I say it, the console version is worse than this. Trust me, just avoid this game. Nice title screen. There's not even any title at all. No, I'm just kidding. It's Primal Rage. You guys pretty much recognize this. It's another fighting game, believe it or not, except you play as animals and dinosaurs and whatever, all these monsters. And look guys, I'm Blizzard killing Diablo. And how ironic. That's exactly what Blizzard's doing right now. So yeah, it's a typical fighting game. It became popular enough to get its own console releases. Came out a whole bunch of like consoles like the Super Nintendo, Genesis, 32X. Somehow, the Jaguar CD got a port, including the Saturn and PS1 version. If you guys like fighting games, give this one a try if you really want to, but all I can say is you can do is random moves, but the only dumb thing is that one of the move requirements is up. They're pretty tricky to perform, so all I can say is get yourself a code list and memorize this. Rampage World Tour. It's another Rampage game, believe it or not. Fun fact, both Rampage, the arcade game, and this game got included in Rampage Total Destruction. Pretty cool they include both games in here. So, you just like the regular Rampage games, you play up to 3 players, destroy buildings, or whatever. This one seems to have its own spin on things, but here's one problem. You can't even hit diagonally anymore, which is a huge con. Seriously, how do you not hit a freaking thing diagonal like you would in the first game? But yeah, you go around, destroy stuff, and whatever. But if you guys want extra lives, you have to do in like a certain score or whatever. But yeah, it's Rampage. Definitely check it out. It also got a sequel, which is not even included. I heard it got a negative reception, but I have not played to know what I'm talking about. So, that's all I can really say about this game. And yeah, it is on consoles like Nintendo 64 and PS1. I think it's on Saturn, but I don't know. It's on a couple of different consoles. Spy Hunter 2. I'm sorry, but this feels more generic. I like the first game a lot better than this one, and it's a confusing mess for me to know what I'm playing. Seriously, I don't even know what to do half the times, or how to avoid damage. That's the whole negative thing I have to say about this thing. Yeah, you can play up to 2 players, but what's the point now? If I want to get past the stage, shouldn't I protect myself? Timber. I think this is meant to be a competitive 2-player game. My own evidence is that the red little bar has your own score, and the blue bar has its own score. The only thing you have to do is tap 2 different buttons. The right button hits the right, and the left hits the left. I shouldn't have to say anything else. So you chop down trees within a certain time limit, and that's it. But somehow, there is also a bonus stage where you stay on a log. I swear I went down when I hit the freaking joystick, but the game said no. Total Carnage. Holy cow, it's another fun twin-stick shooter game. Believe it or not, it's actually made by the same people who made Smash TV. Many of the elements were carried over to this game. And believe it or not, there's plenty of weapon power-ups for you guys to collect, just like Smash TV, and this time you have hostages to save. There's also some shortcuts and some random levels for you to disarm bombs and bosses that take 100,000 years to get hit. I'm not kidding when I say this. This one boss I was fighting in the game, it took 100 years for me to shoot. I'm not kidding you. I shot his arms off, I shot his eyes off, I shot his face off, and it was still alive. Like, this dude does not want to die. It was the first boss in the game. But yeah, this one has like shortcuts and whatever. It's a little bit on the challenging side. Like, I think it's more challenging than Smash TV, but overall you have hidden keys and whatever. Believe it or not, in 2005, this game got ported over to the Atari Jaguar. But yeah, funny enough too, speaking of console ports, it was also released on the Super Nintendo. It was supposed to come out on the Genesis and the CD add-on, but it never got its release despite the add-on being advertised in gaming magazines. Kind of weird how they never ported it over. Oh, and here's another thing. If you want bonuses, just place a bomb in these vehicles or whatever they tell you to do, and you get more points. Pretty cool. Sometimes a bomb's an airstrike. I don't know why that's even a thing, but whatever. But yeah, you got plenty of paths to you guys for you to choose. But yeah, plenty of things to collect. It's a fun game, and it's 2 players. Give it a check out. But holy cow, can I just say one thing before we wrap this part up? I tried playing this game in the Midway Arcade Origins. The joystick configuration plays way worse than the Midway Arcade Treasures 2 version. I'm not making this up. I don't know why, and it was also developed by Backbone on the Origins, who went on to make the extended play versions of the compilation. I really don't understand how they messed this up. But yeah, give this a check out if you haven't played this already. Wacko. I had no idea what I was doing when I was first playing this game. But I came to find out, you're supposed to shoot monsters that match each other. Like yellow monster, you have to shoot one another and that's it. Same thing goes for the other ones. But let me tell y'all something. It gets a little harder and harder later because sometimes they have second forms and whatever. I just got bored off this game. I had nothing else to say. Wizard of War. Holy cow. I almost did not show you guys what the game looks like. The one thing is 2 players that have to shoot these enemies down with your laser thing. It took me a little while to figure out what I was supposed to do. But other than that, I don't know. The reason why I said I almost didn't show you guys the game is because one part had flashing effects. I'm just gonna go out on a limb to say, if you guys have health concerns, stay away from this game. But other than that, I don't even know what else to say. It just feels generic. It feels like a Pac-Man game, but you just shoot enemies instead. Xenophobe. I've always heard a lot of people talk about this game, but only on the Lynx version. You go around, you shoot these aliens, and then after you kill all the aliens in each ship, then you move on to the next level, or maybe just each room or whatever. Sometimes the aliens come in these rooms whenever they feel like it. Now the reason you're seeing this, like the screen like this, because it was meant for 3 players. I don't know if it's meant to work together or competitive wise, but it's there. The Lynx version has 1 screen, thankfully. And that's exactly what you'll be doing. You go out there, shoot some aliens, and that's it. Sometimes the aliens try to grab you from above you or whatever, so make sure you watch your surroundings. The small screen makes it impossible to make out what you're doing or whatever, but my advice, just be careful. Oh, and sometimes when an enemy tries to hit you or whatever, I think it's like bigger enemies or whatever, they make you drop your gun. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. So you gotta make sure you pick it back up. it gets a little harder. But anyways, not a bad game, but a bit of a challenging side. Last game, Cybots. Holy cow, this is actually one of the best games I've played, and an addicting one too. Seriously, I played about 7 levels to capture footage. So you go around these maze things, and you can play up to 2 players, and you shoot all these monsters and whatever. If you kill all the monsters in the maze, you get bonuses. But there's also an upgrade system, you have money. With the money, you can make sure your energy doesn't, like, go rapidly fast on you or whatever. And the energy, you really need it to survive. It's not for your gun or whatever, but it's for your own safety. The reason I say this is because your energy is constantly draining. If enemies hit you, you get more of them taken down. So my advice is to plan out some attacks. Some enemies will try to block you or whatever. But as some enemies in the games will get tougher and tougher. Sometimes there's also be like map upgrades for whatever. Because, you know, sometimes they just don't want to show it to you now. But I have to say, Cybots is actually not a bad game. It got a little confusing for me at first with the controls because I kind of thought it was in for a way. The left actually goes left and the right actually goes right. I'm not saying in terms of movement. I'm saying in terms of like moving the camera around. Yeah, an arcade game that has camera control. Who would have thought that was going to happen? But yeah, the upgrade system, you just need money and you shoot down enemies. Sometimes you might find some health items for you in the mazes. Or sometimes you might find power-ups for your gun. And that can come in handy. So, if you guys are thinking about playing this game, check it out. I highly recommend it. And that's where we left off with the part 2. This again takes a little longer for me to talk about. Now, this is 20 games. So, stick tuned to part 3 when I talk about Midway Arcade Classics 3. And oh boy, they are all racing games.